Hello and thank you for stopping by the Stuff I Heard podcast. This is your host, Joshua Peak. Hey everybody. I kind of want to talk a minute about something that's annoying me. I know I normally start off this thing all ramped up and ready to, hey, how's it going? Listen, this is January 25th, 2019, and I don't know about you guys, but I have been inundated with phone calls from telemarketers. I mean, it's always the same automated voice, too. It's that, hi, this is Jessica, blah, 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 blah. And she talks and talks and talks and talks and talks and talks and talks. And it doesn't matter if you say hello or not. It's a recording. It's a automated thing that just, she's rehearsed some line. Her name is probably not even Jessica. But I swear to God, if I ever met someone who had her voice, I would swear she's Jessica and I want to punch her secretly. I mean, I'd just be like, I know it's you. You fucking, you know what I mean? So, anyway. Jessica, if you're out there, if you're real, please know that I hate you with an intensity that I can't even describe. And not because of your voice, and not because of the fact that I get so many phone calls that happen to have your voice. It's just the fact that you are a victim of circumstance. You are the tool that someone has paid a small amount of money to record this one little line, and I hear your voice so often on my phone, and it makes me angry. It makes me angry. I looked at my phone just now. I've gotten 7 phone calls just today. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and the first phone call came about 9 a.m. So, what is that, 1 every 2 hours? That's crazy. I guarantee you this thing will ring some more today. Hi, this is Jessica. Woman, I swear to God. Anyway, if anybody knows how to block these things, please let me know. I've gotten information from people in the past saying, oh, all you got to do is go on this website, and it's a block list. You can just put your number on there, and they won't call you. That's not real. I've also downloaded apps that say, oh, yeah, just put the number in here, and we'll block them. That doesn't work either. Nope, doesn't work. I haven't found anything that works. I had, there's a guy I'm friends with on Facebook who said that they're calling his cell phone and his home phone on a regular basis. And I'm like, dude, it's 2019. Why do you still have a home phone? But anyway, you know, some people still have home phones. I'm not here to judge. I'm just, okay, maybe I'm here to judge. Maybe just a little bit. You know, it is what it is. If you have a home phone and you're using it on a regular basis, I'm assuming that you have some kind of health problem and, you know, maybe you have to have access to 911 a lot faster, and maybe they know where you live really quickly so they can get to you, and maybe you don't have an Obama phone or whatever, a real phone. Not that an Obama phone isn't a real phone, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, what is on my screen? I'm looking on my screen here. This thing says, heads up. You can record for up to 30 minutes in your web browser. If you'd like to record for longer, you can use the free Anchor app or for iOS or Android, or you can use any app on your computer and then upload it. Really? I can't even record my 30-minute podcast on Anchor anymore? I have to cut it off right before 30 minutes? Dude, Anchor, what are you doing? Is this a software problem? Is this a memory problem? What? I'm going to have to get comfortable with recording in something else. Now, I know a lot of people record their podcasts in something called Audacity. I don't even know what Audacity is. It looks like GarageBand to me. Who has experience with Audacity? If you're listening to this and you have experience with it, please reach out to me. Give me some feedback. I'd like to know some information. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. This just happened. This little nugget of joy just appeared on my screen. I can only imagine it's because other people are using this platform as well, and maybe it's a struggle on their servers to save information for more than 30 minutes. And if you record it in some other way and then upload it, then at least it's in the system. I don't know. If anyone's got any information on this, please let me know, and I will pass it along to everyone else. Okay? Okay. So yeah, Jessica from telemarketers.com or whatever you are, I'm annoyed. If anyone knows how to stop that from happening, let me know. Because I'd like to figure out how to stop that from happening too. Ah, crap. My computer, or my Canon camera thing is giving me trouble. Hang on a second. Pause. Is this working? If I turn this around, can you guys see me? Hey, what's up, baby? What's up, baby? Where can I sit you guys? I gotta like put you, oh, my camera has died. So I've got it plugged in to charge. What if I sit you guys on top of the tripod? Would this work? If I sit you guys right there. You gonna sit there? All right, we're gonna try it. You gonna pay attention? Okay, here we go. I'm hitting record now. Let's see. Doop, 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 doop. Okay, sorry about that. Little technical difficulties. Part of the joy of the podcast, since you guys, get what you pay for, and this is free, is the fact that I don't know what I'm doing a lot of the times, and I'm making this up as I go along. So, I have turned on the GoPro. If you're watching the YouTube part of this, you're going to be like, "Whoa, the screen just totally changed." Yeah, and the sound quality is probably different, probably not as good as when I use the Canon camera. But all the same, I'm doing this, to make it work, to see if this actually does what it's supposed to do. So, fingers crossed, we're going to stick with it. All right, so let's talk about a few things. I've talked in the past about having to go to the eye doctor, and apparently when I went to the eye doctor, because I'm having trouble reading things, I need to get some reader glasses. And while I was at the eye doctor, he looked into my right eye with some kind of special microscope thing, and he saw 2 little drops of blood, like microscopic drops of blood, little tiny little spots. And I don't know if it's serious. I don't know if it's anything to be concerned about. I don't know if it's anything that's like a sign of something else. And he was kind of curious about it as well. So he told me to schedule an appointment with a doctor. Now, I have tried for a long time to get a doctor, and I did not have any success until I mentioned it to my mom, and my mom mentioned it apparently to my stepdad, who then called in a favor with somebody. Now, it's a really weird, long way to go around getting a doctor, because I've called several offices and they wouldn't call me back. They would say, "Oh, we'll call you back and schedule something," and then they don't call you back. And I don't understand that. You think if somebody, like, if you're wanting to have wellness care and you want to set up a doctor's appointment and you try and make a phone call, and they should call you back, because in the end, you're getting a patient that's going to pay you money, right? I mean, whether it's through insurance or through their own pocket, you're going to get paid, which is kind of your job, first do no harm. You got into the field to treat people who are sick and in need. And hey, I'm a well patient. Wellness, right? I need a wellness checkup on a regular basis, and then maybe we can line up things so that if I get old, fingers crossed, let's say I get old and I need to go to the doctor, I have a physician that I can say, "Oh, let me consult my physician because they have all my medical records," and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so my stepdad, Dan, was able to hook up a connection with someone, and I got a doctor's appointment, and I got to see a nice lady who's a nurse practitioner. She's great. She apparently went through school with my mom around the same time and got her education around the same time, and so they know each other, but for some reason my mom didn't talk to her, but Dan did. And I don't exactly understand how that works. But anyway, I had my appointment with her, and my mom asked me, "Oh, did you tell her that you're my son?" And I was like, I assumed that you had this conversation. It's kind of weird that, you're friends, and yet you just didn't tell her that, "Hey, by the way, my son's coming." All the while, I thought that she had set it up, and she didn't. So, not a big deal. But it's just kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I had one of my friends who happened to be a doctor, I don't know, say my buddy Greg, who's a nurse practitioner, and I happen to have one of my kids going to the hospital to see, I'd say, "Hey, by the way, my kid's going to come see you," and he'd, "Oh, okay." And you know what I mean? There's just one little step there that didn't happen that I assumed happened. Of course, it's, they say whenever you assume, what's that little saying? You make an ass out of you and me. Well, apparently I'm the ass, so I'll take it. I'll take the hit. Whatever. So I saw her, and we talked about, family medical history and some of my concerns, and, about the little blood spots in my eye, and she's like, okay, well, we're gonna have you come back and do some labs. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I went this past Wednesday and I did some labs, and I didn't know, like, okay, when they say you're doing labs, I thought, okay, I know the fact that you're supposed to fast from, like, you're not supposed to eat anything past midnight, and you're not only supposed to drink water until they do whatever it is they're supposed to do, just to kind of regulate your blood sugars and that kind of stuff. I'm not really concerned about my blood sugar so much. Ever since doing this keto diet, I know that my blood sugar has got to be within a good range because I've cut sugar almost completely out of my diet. I mean, granted, I still get trace amounts of sugar in like my sweet tea. Once in a while, I'll have some tea. But that's it. I mean, food-wise, like, food that I prepare has, as far as I know, no sugar. There is small differences, like the salad dressing I have has 1 gram of carb or 1 gram of sugar in it, or less than 1 gram of sugar. It's still a trace amount. I get that. I'm okay with that. The whole thing is just getting healthier, just trying to do better, trying to regulate my insulin levels so that the rest of my body has a better chance of making it longer, has a better chance of survival, has a better chance of not having to work so hard to do simple tasks like breathe. I mean, the side effect of this keto thing is that I've lost weight. Now, that's great and all, but it's not really the purpose. The purpose was to be healthier, and I feel healthier. And I know that this sugar test, should be fine. What I wasn't expecting was them saying that I needed to pee in a cup immediately. Now, when I was in the Marine Corps, one of my jobs during a small period of time was to be part of what they call SACO, which is Substance Abuse and Controlled Substance Officer. Anyway, we basically watched people pee in a cup to make sure that they weren't cheating or, hiding balloons in their butt and puncturing them, or holding a balloon in their hand and squeezing out someone else's urine and that kind of stuff. We had to actually watch them pee in a cup. Now, I was in during the 90s, and back then, it had just started to be talked about with people using steroids in the military. And sometimes those steroids got laced with other things and would make someone pop positive. But also, we had a lot of people in who thought it was groovy to go out and party with their buddies on the weekend and then show up to work on Monday thinking that everything was okay. And there was a zero tolerance policy. You weren't allowed to do drugs while you were in the military. It's just how it was. You have the full range and operation of a machine gun, and they just don't want you doing it. Okay? It's sort of like taking a job where they say, listen, while you work here, you're going to have your hair cut and you're going to be sober-ish. I say sober, not on drugs. And you're like, cool, I'm in, let me sign up. That's part of the agreement. So as the SACO, like I said, I had to watch people pee in a cup, and there were times where they would randomly pick me and they're like, hey, you need to be in a cup too. Like, okay, cool. And I joke around about the fact that being in the Marine Corps, you could pee on command. Well, that was kind of true. I mean, back then, I drank so much fluids, and, at any given time, someone would say, hey, we need you to pee in a cup. All right, give me a cup. I mean, how full you want it? That was usually the second question. So I walked in there, and immediately she's like, hey, I need you to pee in a cup. And I was like, I just peed before I left the house, but I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let's give me the cup. Let me see if I got something. And I filled up the cup. I'd like to let you know, as a listener, as a proud listener right now in this disgusting part of the podcast, that I was able to fill the cup up with no problem. Yay, Josh. So anyway, got that done. They were able to take blood. I think they filled up like 3 little vials. And then she hands me this envelope. Now, if you're squeamish, this is probably the part you don't want to listen to. Maybe just call it an early day and stop listening to the podcast and be like, nope, I don't want to know. No. This envelope is a packet. This envelope is a kit, if you want to call it that. A collection kit. It has to do with colon cancer, okay? My grandfather on my mom's side had colon cancer. So it's a concern that it could be hereditary. Because of it, my mom has got tested a little bit extra, and I'm getting ready to be 45, and so rather than scheduling a full colonoscopy right now, they're going to do some type of preliminary test, which is basically I am going to control my diet for a certain period of time, cut out red meats for 3 days. I can't have ibuprofen for 7 days before it, because I guess that affects your liver. And then basically I'm going to turn the water off in my commode and empty it out and poop. Yes, I said poop. If you're offended by poop, get over it. We all poop. I know you. You right now listening. You with the headphones. You with the in your car stereo. You on the treadmill. You're going to poop. If you haven't pooped today, you're going to poop tomorrow. It happens. Okay? I'm going to have to poop into a toilet and I guess use something. I haven't actually opened up the kit yet because it's not time. But you're supposed to use something like a stick or something to smudge it in these little panels and then seal it up. And I'm supposed to do that at 3 different times for 3 different days. Now, if you're in the medical field, you go, oh yeah, no big deal. If you're not in the medical field, like let's say you're just like one of my drivers right now and you're listening to this, you're like, dude, we don't need to know all that. You're right, you don't need to know all that. But hey, like I said, this is a free podcast. You get what you pay for, so you never know what's going to happen. Right now, my wife is shaking her head and she's going, I can't believe you talked about pooping on. Hey, baby, I love you. You understand what's happening. You're on board. You signed up for this. I'm just saying, it's part of the fun. It's part of the glamorous life of being a wife to a YouTuber and podcast startup. You never know what I'm going to talk about. Even I don't even know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? When I hit record today, I literally was like, oh, dear sacred cup of coffee, please give me words to say. I need caffeine. That's delicious. Who comes home from work and has coffee? I mean, it's kind of been my routine here lately in the wintertime to come home on a Friday, get a shower, start my laundry, and pour myself a cup of coffee and start the podcast. I don't mind so much. I mean, I'm hoping that what I'm saying is at least entertaining, if nothing else. I know it's not very informative. Or maybe it is informative. Maybe you have to get your colon checked and you're like, dude, I'm afraid to go to the hospital because I don't know if they're going to stick one of those probes in my behind and look at it on camera. They may. It just depends, I think, on your age and your health and that kind of stuff. I think they probably use this envelope screening thing first just to see if, okay, we need to go in and take a look closer. So, I mean, I don't know. But listen, wouldn't you rather find out ahead of time and be able to treat it? Anytime you watch TV and movies and stuff like that, and they talk about some actor that had some, or a football player or whatever, some athlete, oh, if he'd only gone to the doctor sooner, they could have caught it in time. Well, I mean, I'm healthy now, so wouldn't the time be now? I mean, as I get older, I accept the fact that things are going to start failing. I accept that fact. I'm not happy about it, but I accept that fact. And if there's something wrong, I'd like to know about it ahead of time. We'll call this like a pre-run, like a starting point. Let's say that everything turns out hunky-dory and they go, dude, you're healthy. Keep doing what you're doing. Come back in a couple of years and we'll try it again. Or we'll check again next year just to see, just in case. Okay, I can do this once a year. Sure, why not? If it means I get to catch something early just in case something goes wrong, sure, why not? Now, I say that realizing that there's lots of people out there right now that are smoking on a daily basis or drinking on a daily basis or, doing meth or crack or cocaine or, dipping or thinking that vaping is healthy. Okay. At least I'm doing this to somehow circumvent bad things from happening. Or is it circumvent? No, that's not the right word. Prevent. It's not preventative. It is sort of preventative. I mean, you're not looking forward to it. What is it? You're trying to be ahead of the game. That was a burp if you hadn't heard that. Sorry, I didn't mean to burp in your ear. I know right now you're probably listening to this in the car going, dude, seriously? If you got no couth? No. I mean, I try. I try pretty hard. But, you know, things happen. It's life. It's real life, folks. So, let's talk a little bit about the NFL. I know people are probably tired of it. I've heard a lot of debate this week on the NFL on whether or not they should have instant replay for passing interference plays. For those of you who don't know, there was a obscene passing interference play that was not called. It was against the Rams. It should have been called. Clearly, in every scene, in every angle, you can see that the football is being thrown towards the receiver, and he is being knocked out of bounds, helmet to helmet, hit, knocked out of bounds as the ball is coming to him. You can see it in the angle. Like, he's turning around to catch the ball, and the guy slams him in the face mask with his helmet, knocks him out of bounds, and the ball basically hits the back of the guy, the defender. I mean, I don't know if that last part is exactly true. Anyway, he could have caught the ball. And if he'd have caught the ball, it would have been 1st and goal, and all they had to do is a little tiny flub of a kick to kick a field goal, and the Saints would have been in the Super Bowl. And that would have been it. But they didn't call it. And so the game went into overtime. And when it went into overtime, the Rams ended up winning. Now, here's the part that has been pointed out by ESPN analyst Amy Lawrence and a few others, is the Saints had the opportunity. In overtime, they won the coin toss and elected to receive. And they threw an interception. And then the Rams marched down the field and scored. Rams win. Now, there's a lot of people that say, you know, things happen, and you just got to do the best you can with what you're given. And yes, you're not going to get every call. And some people are like, they need to have this extra bit of blah, blah, blah so that they can look at these plays. And other people who are Hall of Fame quarterbacks, wide receivers, players, let's just say players, have come out and said, no, it's a terrible idea. You don't want to do that because then you're inviting trouble to analyze every play at every angle and making the game ridiculously long. And it's not going to be enjoyable for the fans. It's not going to be enjoyable for the players. And no one wants to sit that long while referees debate game tape. I mean, if you look at every little play microscopically, you're going to find all sorts of things wrong because people are fast. You know, the athletes are super fast and super athletic, and things happen quickly, and sometimes you get human error, and that's part of the game too. This is part of the game. That's what all of them said. This is part of the game. And as a fan, like let's say you were a Saints fan and you saw that happen, you'd be like, are you kidding me? I mean, if you're a Saints player, if you're the coach, if you're the owner, you got to be watching this going, this is ridiculous. How could they not call that? It cost us the game. Well, maybe. Maybe. What if they'd have called it and you were 1st and goal? And what if you went to kick it and you missed? Or you flubbed the hiking of the ball and all of a sudden the Rams get it? What if, I don't know, what if they get the ball back and march down the field and score and win it? There's a lot of what ifs that happen after that moment. And clearly, it was within the Saints' realm to win it. They had the ball in their possession in overtime. They had the ability. And they didn't. And that cost them the game. And I hate it for them. I mean, listen, I understand that these athletes, they get paid on performance and they get bonuses and they get contract deals and all that other stuff. And at a certain point you go, you just cost me a lot of money. And that's true. Not only the money, but the history. You know, no one remembers who loses. They only remember who wins. Think about that. So, the Rams are going to the Super Bowl, and they're going to play the Patriots. The Patriots are kind of like Forrest Gump. You know, when you watch Forrest Gump and they go, so then I met the president again. The Patriots are like, then we went to the Super Bowl again. Now, I would like to say that I actually do enjoy watching the Patriots go. I know a lot of people are anti-Patriots because they seem to go all the time. I do enjoy watching the Patriots go. I like the chess match that seems to go on inside of Belichick's brain whenever he is the GM and the coach, and whenever it's time to draft players, he seems to pick talent in like the 6th round, some guy who is like backup to somebody else, and he ends up being a superstar when he comes to the team. He's like, no, I want people that follow a plan, and I can use him in this way. And he picks very unusual talent at a very cheap price, and he's got a quarterback who leads the way in agreeing that he's going to take less money so that they can afford to have better players. There was a discussion about the fact that some of the top NFL teams out there actually pay less for their quarterbacks who win. The top 5 quarterbacks with the highest salary, none of them are in the playoffs. Some of them will never play next year. It's just a reality. The money that they make is not viable. It is not in relation to them winning. Brady just happens to be that type of quarterback that goes, you know what? I'm going to take less money. Let's see what happens. Use it for the team. Give me some good receivers. Give me some good blocking. Get us a better team. I want to win that bad. So, hey, if you're pissed off at him, I understand. You're probably a fan of one of the rivals. But you got to admire the fact that the dude is willing to do whatever it takes to win. And at his age, at 41, he is still throwing lasers. I mean, calculated surgical lasers of the football and making amazing things happen. His line just does not let him get touched lately. I mean, they have done an incredible job of protecting him. And again, every year, Belichick goes right back to the drawing board and picks out talent no one's thought of. And says, hey, you want to come play with us? Gotta get you a Super Bowl. I like it. I'm a fan. What can I say? I don't own anything Patriots. I've never, been pro-Patriots on anything other than the fact that when I watch them play, I go, all right, I see what you're doing. Good job, man. Good job. And it's fun to watch. It is fun. Anyway, while I'm doing this podcast, my phone got another telemarketer call. Jessica, I know you're out there. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm praying for you. And I'm praying for the company that you work for. And so I'm trying to be positive, trying to ascend to a better sense of self. I'm just hitting block. Every one of these phone numbers that calls me, I know they're probably bouncing off other people's phones, and these actual people may one day want to call me, and they're like, you can't call them. You're like, what the? I thought I had his number. I thought he said he'd call them. I'm just blocking numbers. Anybody who doesn't leave a message? Oh, I want to say that. Yeah. If anybody calls me and you don't leave a message, just assume I'm going to go ahead and block your number. Okay? Leave a message. If you call me, if you're one of the people out there listening who has my phone number and you call me and you don't leave a message, or you're not programmed into my phone as a person that I know, I'm going to hit block this caller because I'm going to assume that you're a telemarketer. Just saying. I usually don't answer the phone if I don't recognize the number. I wait and see if they leave a message. If they don't leave a message, blocked, baby. Blocked. So, I know I need to wrap this up. Otherwise, this computer is going to explode. It's going to say, no, you've gotten close to the time limit, dude. You can't do anymore. It's all going to come to an end, man. I get that. I totally get that. On the way out the door here, I would like to comment on probably one of the funnest podcasts I've listened to lately. And I know I talk about listening to Joe Rogan a lot. Joe Rogan did an interview with Richard Rawlings from the Gas Monkey Garage. And in the beginning, like he talks about this in the intro, there's a lot of ads, I will admit. You got to fast forward past the ads. Just hit the little skip button and go toward, go past all that and get to the good stuff. He talks about the fact that in the beginning, they're trying to feel each other out, trying to figure out what they can talk about, when it comes to cars and that kind of stuff. At about an hour 15, hour 20, they get to cracking open the Gas Monkey Garage tequila, and they start doing shots, and they start really getting into a groove talking about cars, and it gets fun. I mean, it gets really fun. They start making jokes. It's fun. I looked up because I was curious. Richard kept mentioning the fact that he owned a nursing home or chain of nursing homes. He owned a social media company. He owns Gas Monkey Garage. He has a live venue. He apparently owns a lot of things. He has his foot in a lot of things. He does the TV show. He's sponsored by Dodge. Remind me to talk about Dodge. I got a whole thing I want to talk about Dodge, but someone footnote that, or I'll tell you what, this coming Wednesday I got a podcast I'm doing with Byron Covington. Byron, hey, if you're listening to this, remind me to talk about Dodge. I got something I want to run past you and see what you think. Anyway, he does the sponsorship with Miller Lite and so on and so forth. I got curious and I was like, Richard Rawlings' net worth. I looked it up on Google, on the old Google. Anyway, it says on there that he's worth about $15 million. I was like, whoa, that's a lot of dollars. Out of curiosity, I thought, hey, he's interviewing Joe Rogan. Joe's pretty successful. What's Joe Rogan's net worth? He's worth about $14 million. I was like, whoa, holy crap. Both of these guys are doing really well. And then, I had listened to that. I listened to them. I paused it, looked up that information, and just kept listening. And at a certain point, Richard starts talking about, hey, they start talking about a certain car. And Richard says, hey, let's both buy one and let's race. And Joe's like, I don't race. I don't have that kind of competitive nature when it comes to racing. I just like driving. But I could see Richard being like, listen, dude, I mean, sort of like, nudge, like, listen, we got money. We could just buy two of these cars and have fun with it. And I so want that to happen so bad. I really, 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 really hope that Richard takes this to heart and runs with it with his show. Because he sort of has that I'm going to do whatever kind of attitude. I kind of hope he integrates this into the show and says, you know what, I'm just going to buy two of them anyway and invite Joe out and we're just going to have fun whether he likes it or not. And Joe's going to get on board because he's, he likes a good time. He's a jokester. He'll get the joke and he'll think, oh, this is hilarious. Let's do it. Why not? So anyway, I know Joe doesn't need another obsession, not with the bow hunting and the jiu-jitsu and the podcast and the comedy, but I think this would be fun. So anyway, if anybody's listening to this that knows Joe or knows Richard, please buzz their ear and say, this would be so much fun for everybody if you guys would do this. I think they should do a podcast again. I think they should be buddies. I picture them like hanging out, drinking beer, telling jokes. Richard talked about possibly trying to do stand-up comedy. I think that would be fun. I think he's got a showman attitude. And yeah. See, one of the things I like about this is that no one's telling them they can't do it. Like literally, these guys are creating their own voice and their own empire and their own rules in the process. And they can literally do anything. So I'm going to stick in. I'm going to watch it if they do it. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to be like, I told you on that episode, the one I talked about poop. And you guys said I was crazy and they're doing it now. I'm just saying, it could happen. I'm going to wrap this up. Hope everybody's doing well. Be excited about this coming Wednesday. I'm really hoping this works out. I'm supposed to have a podcast with a buddy of mine, Byron Covington. And yeah, we'll talk to this hard charger and it'll be fun. It'll be a fun hang. I'll make sure my crap is charged up so that I won't have to do this crap again with the GoPro. For those of you listening, thanks for listening. For those of you watching, appreciate every one of you. Y'all take care now. Bye.